Greetings, book lovers everywhere. I'm E-Train, and welcome to E-Train Talks. I'm a literacy advocate, podcast host, and booktuber, and today's interview is an incredibly special one, unlike any other that I've hosted before. I've shared talks with one author or two, maybe even three once in a blue moon, but today I have 6 fabulous youth authors, kids just like you and me, who have all written phenomenal works. Their stories are so inspiring through their creative storylines, and for kids of all ages who are scared to share their own stories, scared that just because they're kids, they can't write. My guests are proof that kids can really do anything, even write a book. So meet Sammy Vance, Lena, DJ, Andrew, Scarlett, and Linda. They're all epic people. They're writing their 6 kids, 6 extraordinary books. Thank you all so much for coming on E-Train Talks. And before we get into some of the other questions about your stories, why don't you all just share your name, grade, age, and at what age you started writing? Anybody
So
can share.
my name's Linda Piston. I am 11 and I am in ninth grade, and I started writing at 6.
Hello, my name is Dewan Strickland. I am 15 years old. I am in ninth grade, and I started writing when I was 12.
My name is Andrew. I am 13. I'm in 8th grade, and I started writing when I was 7.
Hi, I'm Sammy Vance. I am 14 years old in ninth grade, and I started writing when I was 9.
Hi, I'm Scarlett Hoffman. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Scarlett Hoffman. I'm 13. I'm in 8th grade, and I started writing when I was 12.
Hi, my name is Nina Ford. I'm in ninth grade. I'm 14, and I started writing. Well, I wrote my first book when I was 12.
All right, so now everybody, you all have gotten to know our guests a little bit, but we have a few more questions so we can dive a little bit deeper into their stories and a bit of their writing process. So, I guess the first question I should ask is, well, being like a podcaster, it's already a ton to like balance schoolwork and all the other book stuff that I do. But you guys are authors writing incredible stories. So, how do you balance all your schoolwork time and writing as well? What comes first? And also, if you have any other extracurriculars, how do you manage to get to those as well as find time for everything else?
So for me, time management is definitely a struggle. It's something I'm actively working on every day. Sometimes I get to fully focus on one thing, and other times I have to stretch my focus like a balloon over a glass bottle. I have to use a calendar, and when I don't, disaster strikes.
For me, it's definitely also something that I'm working on currently a lot. Helpful ones definitely like calendar to keep like dates and like schedules and everything that you're doing each day, and also like kind of being proactive, actively trying to remember, everything that you're, need to really do. Calendars really help, writing things down like somewhere. I also have like a notes up in my phone for like, different times um and things like that. But it's also really just something you work on, like the more you really do it and the more you get into habits of doing it helps a lot. And then there's also, YouTube as well too. Because YouTube, you can search up really anything too. There's always resources everywhere, so the internet's also something that helps a lot. But yeah, calendars too.
For me, time management is definitely a really important thing. Once I get home from school, I figure out what homework I have, and I also play a lot of tennis. So I have to figure out when I will do what and how much time I have to write and when. So my day goes smoothly.
Yeah, for me, like everyone else, I feel like time management has been a big struggle like the past 5 years for me and doing my buddy bench project. But for me, a big thing is just making sure I have a good support system and a good amount of like community and I have to like manage being able to take time for myself and also doing stuff with my writing or with just my buddy bench project in general. But my mom helps a lot with kind of getting things in order and just, like I said, making sure you have a good support system that can help you through things.
For me, I'm homeschooled, so I have a lot of flexibility, but I do have a calendar because I can forget when I have things that I need to do. But it's nice being able to have a lot of flexibility so I can have time doing sports, writing, and schoolwork.
For me, it's I have a set time for everything. Since I'm an entrepreneur, I have to have a set time for entrepreneurship, writing, especially since I do a lot of collabs. I always have to make sure that I use a calendar too, and keep everything separate from each other. And if something overlaps, then of course it's a struggle. But really, for me, having a set time for everything really helps.
Those are all great answers, and I think calendars are incredibly important as well, like all of you said. And I think it's really cool that you found all these different ways to balance your school life, extracurriculars, and your writing time as well as everything else that you do. So, my next question for you is, well, can you give an elevator pitch of your story? I mean, that's basically like just tell us what your story is about. But try and keep it brief so we don't have any spoilers and so everybody can have an equal amount of time to share.
So my book is about a little girl scientist named Linda who wakes up to find her entire town covered in carbon footprints. And she uses the scientific method to find out what they are and then works with the town to make them smaller and smaller.
I have two books. One it's called Tech Boy, the other one's called Science Girl. So I'll just do kind of a both within like a minute. Tech Boy is an origin story about a young high schooler who was a proud technology, uses the power of science, technology, engineering, and math to defeat the villain in the story. It's focused on technology and STEM. And my second one is about a girl who really loves chemistry and biochemistry. It's about her journey to learn it and understanding her powers, and eventually becoming Cyber City's first female superhero. And that was also origin story too.
My book is called The Murder Mystery Race. It starts in a quiet town in New Jersey, and suddenly this murderer strikes, and 16 kids get these code letters that are offering them to go on a cruise to find the murderer, and the first kid to find the murderer will win $1 million. It's filled with action, suspense, and it's a thrilling novel.
My book is called Inspire the World, A Kid's Journey to Making a Difference, and it's about my personal journey with the Buddy Bench Project, how I started it at a very young age, and just to show how you can spread kindness no matter your age or who you are, and just to inspire people to make the world a better place.
My book is called The Adventures of Sage Hawkins, and it's about a scientist who works at Mana Labs on a project that can capture and shrink storms. But she gets shrunk and on her way home joins a group of fairies living on her neighbor's front porch.
My book is called I Love Me and That's Okay. It's about a little girl named India, and her and her friends have to find a way to stay positive when they're getting bullied by a girl named Sandra.
Well, everybody, I mean, if those pitches weren't enough to sell you into getting their books, the rest of this interview is because, I mean, I've read all their books, but now after that, I just want to read them again. So, now my next question for you is a little bit deeper into the publishing process. So, I guess the first question I can ask is, do you have a traditional publisher or are you self-published? And can you share a little bit about your own publishing process so we can kind of see if there's any similarities, compare and contrast between all of you guys?
I am traditionally published through Tabletop Publishing, great publishing company, by the way. I chose them because they are an all-female publishing company and they specialize in books for neurodivergent kids like me. I was originally looking to self-publish my book so that I could maintain control of the whole project, but I realized that would be really expensive upfront, and there was a lot about publishing that I didn't know. So when Tabletop Publishing offered me a book deal, I happily accepted. They took on all the upfront costs and brought their publishing expertise. I love that Tabletop Publishing let me be involved in every decision. It allowed me to make sure my book was perfect.
For me, I am self-published for my books. I first started with finding an illustrator on Fiverr that had, his illustration style had, kind of what I envisioned for Tech Boy and Science Girl. Next, I had to pay for the ISBN, which is the barcode on the back of the book. Then I uploaded everything to KDP, which is Amazon, and Ingram Spark. And, that's how my book got distributed to different places like Walmart, Target, and Barnes & Noble. And that's kind of a brief summary of the process of self-publishing for me.
For me, so I have a traditional publisher. I first started by doing a little research on publishing houses that specialize in mystery novels, and then once a publisher told me they wanted to work with me, I spent many hours with editors going through the book, editing the content, and just to make the book the best version it could be. And then the process of designing the cover was a little bit. I had to come up with symbols that would represent my book and that would be eye grabbing. So that's my process.
So I was actually traditionally published as well, and it was kind of a long, complicated process, but my mom helped me a lot with it. I started off with finding a literary agent who helped me a lot with finding a publisher. Um, and we had like a lot of publishers say no, but we finally found one that said yes, and it was a really long process with having to do with like editing the book, finding like my book changed a lot from how it started. It started as just a picture book and changed into a one for a little bit of an older age range. And I'm really happy with how it turned out, but it was a pretty long process and it got really complicated at some parts.
So before I was signed by a traditional publisher, I self-published, but then realized that's really hard because you're in control of everything. And I was very new to the writing business. So it was new for me. But then I got signed by a publisher and it's a lot easier than self-publishing is, even though you think self-publishing is going to be easier. But I really enjoy the experience of being traditionally published.
I am self-published. I also found an illustrator on Fiverr, and I also have an editor that was from someone who helped me write my book. She sat down with me, we went through every single page, made sure everything was good. And for the illustrating process, I wrote exactly how I want all my illustrations to look like and sent it to the illustrator. And that's really how I got my book. Now I'm selling it on Amazon in different stores, including local bookstores, and of course on my website.
Well, it's really cool to see how all of you guys, there's certainly differences between how all of you guys published. I mean, the biggest could be self-published versus traditionally being published, but even if you've been published in a similar fashion, there can be differences, which is really interesting for everybody listening. And I guess also me because I'm an aspiring author. So you guys are giving me tips as well as everybody else watching. So there's that. So, I mean, that's another benefit, I got really cool people here who know a lot about the business. And so I'm kind of keeping your advice in my back pocket. So my next question is kind of about your experience after being published, whether self or traditionally published. So, like interviewing authors, somehow I guess my kids at my school found my podcast and they kind of teased me. Well, I mean, not kind of, they kind of did a lot. So as young authors, who many of you are still in school, um, have you experienced bullying due to the amazing work that you do in the writing world? And how do you kind of handle it, I guess?
So, uh, over the summer, I actually found some kids at my school made some mean profiles about me and wrote some mean comments on Twitter. So at one point, I even had to file a police report about it
Wow.
because it got so bad. But like, I realize now that pretty much you can't control what other people do, and you can't change them, but you can let them not change you.
Yeah, there's like bullying was rough as well. A lot of it happened, after my interview on the Today Show when a lot of people kind of noticed that. And the bullying wasn't like just in person, but it was also cyberbullying as well, which is rough because that's coming from both ends. That's on my social media and also, in person as well. Um, but one thing that, I talked to my mom about it, and my mom was like really understanding about, the whole situation. And, really like I think the best like advice is really kind of just, talking to people about it. Because if you try to handle it just yourself, then things might become bad. But if you really like talk to teachers, parents, or people about it, and have them kind of help out with the situation, it's a lot easier. You're not kind of holding that in. And also, you really just don't listen. If people are picking on you about it, that means that you're clearly doing something right. So don't let it get to you.
For me, people have not really teased me too much about my book. Some people make rude comments every now and then, but I just think that you have to ignore them and brush it off. I mean, who cares what other people think? If you like writing and it's your passion, why let someone else's negativity impact you?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I've mentioned this like a few times throughout the interview, but I think for me, a big part is just having a good support system that you can come back to, that can really help you through everything. And just people that are letting you know that you are doing amazing things, no matter what these other people are saying, that does not affect like how cool the stuff that you're doing. And like, if that makes sense, just having a really good support system that you can always rely on and lean on to help you.
I personally haven't experienced teasing or bullying, but I know that when I first started writing, I was definitely very worried about it. So I always try to like dress and be very mature. Um, but I was definitely very aware of what people would say. But yeah, you just have to brush it off because their negativity doesn't have to affect you.
I personally also haven't experienced any bullying. I know that a lot of people didn't believe that I wrote my own book, and a lot of people still don't believe I did, but that's really it. Not too much of bullying.
Well, all of your answers were so great, and even if you haven't really experienced bullying, I still like that you all um have that you know how you should react to the bullying. And I feel like going back to what Sammy said, having a support group, a support system for this kind of stuff is really important. That's kind of what has helped me get through everything. I mean, having your parents there or like a school counselor, it hasn't been too bad. Um, of course, like it's kind of a constant thing, but I feel like while I've still experienced the same amount as maybe like last year when I first got into middle school, I feel like it's now being kind of brushed off a little bit more because I'm kind of, and I think we can all like somewhat agree with this. We're all, but as we have experienced more in the writing world and the book world, I feel like we're all kind of blossoming into like more confident people. So, the next question for you guys is one that I've asked every single person that I've interviewed. It's like the closer that everybody knows is coming, and if you don't know it's coming, it's going to hit you by surprise. So, if you looked at the questions I sent you guys, then hopefully you're ready. So, if you could meet your favorite literary character, fictional or real, so basically it could be your favorite author, or you could meet your favorite book character, who would it be and why?
So, personally, for me, I can't pick one. So, I'm just going to say my top three. So, first, my two favorite authors are Charles Darwin, who wrote On the Origin of Species, and Neil deGrasse Tyson. And my favorite book character is Matilda. And so I really like Charles Darwin because so he wrote On the Origin of Species, which has been my favorite book since I was little, which actually wasn't that long ago. And my and I really love Neil deGrasse Tyson because he's my favorite astrophysicist. Uh, and Matilda is just like me in more ways than one. She's a child prodigy, just like me.
For me, if I got to meet an author, I would love to meet J.K. Rowling. Of course, she's a fantastic writer, but she shows a lot of grit, and she's a single mother, and it was hard for her to make ends meet, and she received so much rejection for her book, and she had a pretty difficult period in her life where she struggled a lot, and she just showed grit and perseverance. So I think getting to meet her and hear a lot more details about her life story would be great.
For me, I would definitely have to go with Stan Lee. You know how he like kind of puts himself in like his character, like his characters and that he creates, and how he like really is passionate about them. Kind of kind of put I put a part of that with really with my own characters and how I inspire my own characters off of myself too and my personality. So I really just think that Stanley, I just think he's really awesome. And actually this guy ties into it too. But favorite character of Black Panther as well. You know, really kind of I just really just love Marvel in general and Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman inspired me, and I really love Black Panther as well. So definitely have to go Black Panther and Stanley.
So I was thinking about this question a lot and I couldn't really like think of anything specific, but I think in general to like all books there's a protagonist and antagonist, and I think I just really love to meet both characters and to be able to explore more into like their mindset and see the similarities and differences, and just like especially the antagonist because people so often like judge them but you don't know the whole backstory, everything that like I just think that it would be cool in general to meet the antagonist and protagonist.
If I had to choose a favorite book character, it would be Amarandi from The Princess Will Save You, which is a really good fantasy book, by the way. She wants to fight for her kingdom, which is rightfully hers, and protect it at all costs.
For me, if I can be an author, it would be Lisa Moore Renee because her books are really inspiring, especially to middle school girls or girls and or middle schoolers. Um, and that's yeah, I just think she's really inspiring, especially on the books I've read of hers.
Those are all great answers, and I also think what's really cool about everything that you said is that all the characters, whether book characters or authors that you mentioned, they all kind of share similar traits in that like perseverance and like Andrew said, and kind of always wanting to achieve their dream and never giving up. So, also funny story about Lisa Morame. She lives like 20 minutes from where like Sacramento where I'm located. And so I got to meet her at like a book fair once, and then like I haven't seen her since. It was like she disappeared. And now usually that would be the end of the interview questions, but as I mentioned earlier to all of you guys, we have some rapid fire questions, and these are not related to books. These are just kind of random. Because you gotta spice this interview up a little bit. These are very controversial, so if you don't want to answer, that's perfectly fine. Not like controversial on like a political state, just like pineapple on pizza kind of controversial, you know? Um, so the first one, do you prefer cats or dogs?
I'm a cat person because so the way I like to break it down, when you have adult cats and adult dogs, to me they're equally kind of cute. But then I imagine them in like kitten and puppy, and to me kitten wins.
For me, I'm more of a dog person. I think they're really fun to play around with and throw a ball when they chase it down. So I'm more of a dog person.
this one's kind of rough for me because I'm originally like really a dog person,
Yeah.
but then recently I got a cat, and now I don't know where I am now. But because I have a cat named Ruffles, and yeah, he's just so awesome, and I'm just like, oh well, now I don't know what I am now. But yes, this is kind of a hard one for me. But as time goes on, I'll give my confirmed answer.
I'm probably more of a cat person. Just my older brother's allergic to cats and dogs, so I can't have either. But I don't know. Like small fluffy dogs are really cute to me, but like bigger ones not so much. And then I feel like cats are just more chill in general, so I think I'd probably rather a cat.
I'm definitely a cat person because my writing partner is a cat, so kind of partial to that side. Um, but yeah, cats all the way.
I would say a cat person because I feel like cats are more calming compared to dogs because dogs are kind of wild.
Well, for the first time, we've had a more cat people than dog people, and I love to see it. I'm a cat person myself. I mean, I love both. I've never really had a dog. I guess the my mom's excuse is always like they poop too much. So like maybe if I experience like the feeling of having a dog, then I might become more of a dog person, kind of like what's going on with DJ and having a cat. But for now, I think I'm more on the cat person side. And plus, when they're older, they don't really like need you as much. Just feed them and clean their litter box, and then they just do whatever. So,
Yeah. I definitely want to say I agree with your mom, but also my dog has a pink. I have two dogs, two cats, but my dog has a pancreatic issue, so it
oh yeah,
doesn't really end well.
yeah. All right, next one. Um, I guess I mentioned pineapple on pizza. So, do you guys think that pineapple belongs on pizza or not?
So for me, I like pineapple on the side, but so I used to love pineapple with mushrooms on pizza, which might seem like an odd combination. Then I tried just mushrooms on pizza, and I was like, you know what? This is better, and I haven't even pineapple on pizza since.
I think pineapple does not belong on pizza, and I don't really have much else to say.
For me, I don't eat like I never even had pineapple on pizza in my life, so I have no clue. I was thinking about trying it, but I haven't. I'd have I would have to try it another time. I don't even know where I'd find it, but maybe I don't really know.
That's the same for me. I've never tried pineapple pizza before. I've never thought that fruit belongs on pizza, so I've always just been a pepperoni person.
I've never tried pineapple on pizza, but my mom has, and she says it's like really good. But I just gotta say no. A fruit does not belong on a pizza.
I had pineapple on pizza when I was like 6 or something like that. I don't know, a while ago. And it tasted good to me, but I haven't had it in a while. So I would say yes, but maybe if I try it again, I might change.
So I'm like a genuinely I'm probably the most picky eater you're ever gonna meet. So I mean, I like pineapple on the side, kind of like what Linda said. I haven't really tried it on pizza before. I think it probably would taste good, but I just don't want to try it. Like that's kind of how I feel about a lot of foods. Like it's probably just like you think it could taste good, or maybe it might kill you because it tastes so bad. All right. The next rapid fire. I'm just gonna get back to my script because it closed. For some reason. I got a new computer, so that's like a little weird. All right. Um, what is okay? Do you like texting people or talking to people more?
I personally prefer talking because I'm a really slow texter. So when I need to say something, it's just easier for me to talk. And then if for some reason like they won't answer the phone or they're not home, I'm just like, okay, fine, I'll text. And then I take the next 20 minutes to write a couple sentences.
Yeah.
For me,
Uh,
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that I'm more of a talker. Like texting, like you never know what someone like. You might say like or try to text something you would think, okay, it's normal, but you don't know how the other person's gonna take it at all. So
Exactly.
then you're sitting there just like, uh, and then erase it, and then like rewrite something and erase it, and then it takes 20 minutes. Like it's yeah, I don't know. It's just I feel like too much. I'd rather just like either call or just talk because I don't. You never know. You never know.
Yeah, that's the same thing with me. You can't really interpret what tone they're using. Sometimes I've been texting my friend and I might think I'm intending to say something sarcastic, and they might respond, "What? What are you talking about?" And I'm
Yeah.
being sarcastic. So I prefer talking. It's just easier.
I have to agree. Texting, you cannot tell the tone. So I'm like kind of in between because I would rather text because I'm a fast writer, but like talking is also better. So I'm kind of on both sides.
Yeah, for me, if it was like texting versus calling, I'd rather text just because I don't like calling people. But if it was like in person versus texting, probably in person just because you get the more like authentic self. Like I feel like I can be less awkward on text, but like in person it's more authentic and just it's better. Like you guys are saying, the tone, it's easier to tell.
Me, I'm more of a person who likes to text, and I'm more quiet than most people, so I don't really like to call people. I do agree, though, it is difficult to figure out the tone of the message, but it's just I like for messaging.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I like talking more. Because if I text something saying like I like Taylor Swift's music, you could interpret that as sarcasm, or you could interpret it as I like Taylor Swift's music. And speaking of that, are you a Swiftie or not? And please explain why.
I definitely love Taylor Swift music, and it is pretty good. You gotta admit it. And so, like, for some reason, like, I'm not really too picky with music, but there's some music like my little brother's shows, like the kind of music they have in that is in my nightmares. That's the music in my nightmares. But the music like that I like to listen to that pretty much is now on my permanent channel because pretty much now I have my phone basically knows what kind of music I like and does not play my little brother's nightmarish music. So mostly it's just Taylor Swift.
Uh, I mean, for like Taylor Swift's music isn't bad, but it also is just something I'm just gonna like. It's not gonna be the first thing I'm gonna go put on.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom really loves Taylor Swift, and I mean, like I can like it's kind of one of the things where like I can listen to it, so it's not bad, but that's not gonna be my preferred choice. Kind of a piece of I'll try it, but I'm not gonna like if I'm spending money on it, I'm not gonna go and buy it. Like it's kind of like that. It's like it's not good. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not like my first choice at all. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a Swiftie. I mean, like, if someone plays her music, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, shut it off. I can't listen to this." Like, I'll listen to it, but like DJ was saying, not my top choice. I'm not, like, a huge fan.
For me, I've never been a huge music person in general who always has AirPods or earbuds in, but I think she's a good singer, and I like a lot of variety of music. I'm not specifically in favor for rap, country, or pop. Just like everything. So I think she's good though.
I'm not a Swiftie, but I do like her music. A lot of my family is are Swifties, so they're constantly playing Taylor Swift songs. So that's the only reason I actually have knowledge of like any of the song lyrics. But yeah, I like her music.
I haven't actually listened to Taylor Swift in a while. Um, if it's at parties, then of course I'll listen to it, but I don't really like. It's not my first choice of music at all.
Yeah, my mouse died. So I don't really think I'm kind of a Swiftie, but I feel like it's just peer pressure, to be honest. Like, everybody at my school is a Swiftie, and like I'm like the only escape I usually had from that kind of stuff was like sports. But now all the NFL is talking about is Taylor Swift because Travis Kelce's dating her. So I mean, I like her music. I'm going to the Eras Tour movie, so say what you want about that. But yeah, her music's pretty good, and I mean, I'm like Andrew, I like a lot of music, though when you mention country, like a shiver drives down my spine because I hate country music. Um, so yeah. All right, that's the last one that I have. And everybody, let's just give a round of applause for these incredible authors. So you can also give a round of applause for yourself as well. Like a pat on the back, something like that. Yeah. So I know that everybody who watched this is now immediately going to run to Amazon, their local bookstores, Barnes and Noble, anywhere that they get books, and try and find them. I feel like the entire world's gonna like be like a stampede, just like a Taylor Swift concert, and like rush to find your books, and pretty soon they'll be sold out. So yeah, everybody, be sure to keep on reading, and by keep on reading, I obviously mean read these incredible books. That was a hardcover, so nothing happened. So after this interview, I'm gonna go right back to reading these books. I read them once, I'm gonna read them twice. And I've gotta say, I mean, I'm the same age as most of you, or some of you are even older than me, but I'm gonna sound like a 50-year-old adult here. I can't wait to see how far you six go in life. So, keep on reading, stay safe, and I'll see everybody in the next one. See you. Bye.